Okay, hi, this is the best lighting that I can do. Welcome back if you're new. Okay, I got cut off literally. I was about to tell you that I'm trying not to wake the kids and 2 of them woke up. So I'm gonna try my best here. Welcome if you're new. I'm gonna sit down with you today and do some nighttime chores, some things that I just didn't get to that I need to get done. And I'm gonna bring you along with us. So we have some politics to chat about. We have the list to chat about, which they go hand in hand. We have some products that have been sent to me that I want to tell you about. And I think that's pretty much it, you know, just the general distrust of the government, chit chat, and all that good stuff. So, hey, hello, my name is Tori. I like to teach you to be prepared on a budget, and we also like to have sit-down chit chats like this. I live in Northern Colorado. I'm a stay-at-home mom and wife, ex-teacher, and we live on our little backyard homestead here. And sometimes we like to share about that too. So if you like that kind of thing, definitely hit the subscribe button and let's get right into this. Okay, so first things first, what I'm making right now. I'm taking some of my Christmas tree, which we still have up, and it will be up for a while. I'm one of those people. And I'm putting it in this glass jar. Then I'm gonna top it with some vinegar. And I do this every year. And it's just a nice little pine cleaner. If you didn't know this about me, my favorite season is winter. I actually don't like the summer at all. The only reason I do is technically so, you know, the kids can run around. But honestly, I could really love just the fall the most because I can garden in it and it's a little bit cooler. But yeah, the winter time, I love the smell of pine. I've heard that you can't do this with every pine. Well, guess what? I have. The only thing you shouldn't do it with is artificial pine, but it's said to be a really great cleaner and astringent. So I'm excited. I make this again every single year. I just pour vinegar over top of it. I leave it for 3 to 6 weeks, and then this glass has a little thing on it. So I just put my rag underneath it and use it as a multi-surface cleaner. This is not my disinfectant, but it could be if you are in that scenario in your house. It depends. All you're gonna do is take your vinegar and pour it in here. Sometimes I get this nozzle wrong, and I'm just gonna see if it's gonna pour out of here and make a fool of me, but should be good here. I don't know if you all know this, you should be checking this, but the vinegar has since switched its acidity from 5% to lower, making it unsafe for home canning. And if you wanna say that's a coincidence, then fine, but I think it's intentional. So check your vinegars. I haven't seen any with less than 5% yet. So I don't know when it's actually like coming out into the stores, but definitely something that you should check on. I ran out of vinegar here, but that's okay. I don't need too much. I just keep adding to it as it starts breaking down. So I'm gonna put a lid on this. I store it in a cool and dark area, but I heard you don't really have to do that. There's not a lot of rules that I do follow. So if you are a rule follower, perhaps you shouldn't listen to my advice, but you know, I just go with what works for us. I try not to overstress things, and that's something I wanted to bring up in this video. I talk about home canning a lot. I talk about water bath canning. I grew up in like Mennonite Amish rural Pennsylvania, and it's been a little tricky for me, like just coming into society when home canning has become as popular as it has. My family has done it, you know, my whole life. It's not something that I did out of college and into my marriage life. I'd say I've been doing it for the past, you know, like 6 years or something. But before that, I guess you can say I took a 10-year break. But my problem is whenever I'm posting a canning recipe, everyone says this is misinformation, you're gonna kill people, blah, 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 blah. And it's like really disheartening, especially for an empath. I know you all say to ignore it, but I'm just relaying what people say. And then as soon as I put something out and they have a negative comment, they immediately say, the CDC says, well, you've picked the wrong person. I don't trust the CDC. I don't really trust any government agency. I was talking with a friend recently and we agree there are some good-hearted people in the government that work for the government. I'm married to one of them. I also used to work for the government, but there's just not much that person can do. You know, you can help your local communities and still have that good heart, but at the end of the day, these entities are just controlled by a higher power, not in the sense of spirituality, but just big government people that get off on greed and lies and money. So when people bring up the canning thing, it's just like a little annoying because immediately they bring up botulism. I have not gone into our story yet, but my daughter, who is now 3, was diagnosed with botulism. We were told it was because of home canning or ingesting a weird soil or something like that, and guess what? Didn't end up being botulism. But moral of that story, I did some digging about botulism, and if you want to do some research on that, I really think you should. Of course, you still need to be careful with home canning, but the scare of botulism that people keep talking about is really just some government funded study, and you will find that a lot on Google. So if I say do your own research, I don't mean type it into Google and look at the first article that comes up. I mean dig. It may take you weeks, but you will find the truth. That's how I find it, and that's why I relay it to you. So yes, home canning was on the agenda here. Now let's get into the politics. So yesterday, the client list was released. I don't have a big enough channel to sit here and say the real names of everybody, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure you can figure it out. I'm pretty sure you guys can comment. But you know, just be mindful that it may get taken down. I've been accused of it, but I promise I'm not censoring your comments. I promise I see all comments that are displayed to me. Some people think that I'm deleting them, but I'm really not. It's just whatever you said that may be flagged. So YouTube takes it down and they take it into a review, and a lot of times creators can't see it. So I work very hard to engage with each and every one of you. There are some times that I just can't make it to all the comments. I do have 2 channels, and I'm a mom. That is my #1 job. So I have been having some trickiness when it comes to wording on the channel and wording for names. If I don't say the name, I apologize, but you're just gonna have to figure it out on your own. I know that's super harsh and very unteacher-like of me, but I don't know what else to tell you. So back to it, the client list was released, and I put a poll out on my Mountain Mama Living Instagram account, and I asked if it was a distraction, if it was information we already had, or if we are never going to get the full list. And a lot of people messaged me and said it's all 3. And that is the correct answer. Honestly, it was a distraction from something. I don't think necessarily on that day, but something that is about to happen or something that already happened that the media just didn't cover. And the mainstream media has that flaw, you know? I feel like we all know that. But yes, #1, it was a distraction. #2, are we ever going to get the full list? Probably not. And #3, is this information we already had? Yes, technically we did. It was all released already, but some names were blocked out. So I read the document. It was lengthy, and it was honestly hard to decipher for me personally. I'm not really a legal person. I was an elementary art teacher, so it's just not interesting to me, but this document actually did interest me, and it named a lot of people in Hollywood, and a lot of people said that a former conservative president that not a lot of people like because of something he said 20 years ago and other things was going to be on that list, and he was not on the list. He was spoken about, and I feel like that's an important thing to say. A lot of people brought up his name. Well, he did this, and this. And to be honest, if his name was on that list, this list would have been visible much sooner than what we have now. So take it with a grain of salt. If you can find the list, absolutely find it. I'm not going to share a link with you. I think if you message me on Instagram, I can figure it out, but not here. There are plenty of people naming some names right now, but again, my channel is just not big enough. So yes, that was #1 on my agenda. I was pretty surprised to see some of the names, but then at the end of the day, I thought about it. I'm like, no, I'm not. And there was a big name on there, and I don't like either of these people. This woman ran against that conservative person. Her and her husband, I'm not really a fan of, but he was kind of drug under the rug here about something that he said. And please note, I am not sticking up for them in any way. Someone said these girls are here because they're young, and this man likes them young. I need to reiterate here, so don't mind me. I'm going to pause myself. I am not condoning his behavior at all. I am just saying that there are other things in this document that we could have focused on to prosecute this family, and I just don't think that is ever going to see the light of day when we just focus on the main thing that came up on one of the first pages. And I feel like that is the thing that everyone's taking out of this document, that he likes them young. And again, I'm not sitting here and saying that I'm sticking up for him, but Have you ever heard that before? I've heard it several times. I've heard several men say that they like younger women, and it's just a thing. It's just a thing in this day and age, and I feel like there were so many other factors in that document that should have been brought out, but I feel like that number one thing was pulled out of there, and it's not the hardest piece of evidence that we have against him and his wife. So I want you to think about that when these things are being released, when these documents are being picked apart and all these words are taken out. Just take them with a grain of salt and do your own research into the document, because there were a lot of scary things that were involved with a lot of powerful people, and I really think that that's important. Fortunately, a prince from another country was dragged under the bus, and I feel like he got the worst of it. He did some pretty messed up things, but there were people on that list that did scary things that still have not been prosecuted or brought forward, and they probably never will be. I want you to do some digging on the list itself, and I wanted you to do some digging on the two people who owned that island. The woman herself is sketchy beyond belief. She's in jail right now, and I want you to specifically focus on her family, her father and her sisters, because there are some really messed up things about them that I will probably talk about in a later video, but it's not something that I have time for today. As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Next up on my agenda is going to be a little political, and we don't really talk about politics on the channel that much. And there's several reasons for that, but I wanted to talk about it with you because I never have. I wanted to tell you my front runner for the election that may or may not happen, but I'm really loving RFK. I think he's doing some amazing things. He's bringing information forward that is important. At the end of the day, the two parties, Republican and Democrat, just don't mean what they used to mean. So if you're sitting there thinking he's a Democrat, he always will be, it just doesn't mean the same thing anymore. And I just think that everyone should listen to him talk. I know a lot of people can't because he has a raspy voice or whatever, but he truly has a great intellect, and I feel like he's bringing a lot of information forward that's important, and I feel like it can get us out of this, we're gonna call it a rut. I don't know what to call our country right now, but a lot of what is happening is because the government is poisoning us. Switching angles, but I will say I can't really trust any of them, but right now he's my front runner because he's bringing issues forward that need to be addressed that never really have. The government is poisoning us. I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. That is something I wanted to talk about. It's 2024. You got to have another name to call all of us. People say, where's my tinfoil hat? Or you're just a conspiracy theorist. I mean, is that the only thing that you can come up with? Speak of Kennedy's, look into why the term conspiracy theory came about. And I will sit here all the live long day and tell you that just because I do my research and I want to protect my family, it doesn't mean I'm a conspiracy theorist. And I feel like you can believe what you want to believe, but at the end of the day, this is fact, and it's something that you can't unknow. We talk about it all the time on the channel, but once you go down this rabbit hole, you sometimes may want to crawl out of it, but at the end of the day, something keeps pulling you in because there are things out there that the government is hiding from us. And do I think we will truly ever know the truth? Probably not. But in the meantime, I'm going to do my best to protect my family. But back to RFK, just try and listen to him talk. I know you all have in your head the number one candidate for the election, but 2024 is going to be wild, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be pushed out of office if they haven't already quit, and it's just a difficult time. So try and remain positive and clear-headed and think of somebody else that could lead this country. I don't think any of them are perfect, but one is better than the other. In the current administration, if you think they're doing a great job, you need to really get outside and get some sunlight or do a heavy metal detox or something like that. Right, and then speaking of toxins, it would not be a video without me mentioning my favorite company, the Wellness Company, and I got some new concentrates in, and these are disinfectant cleaners. So this is the Soluguard Botanical, and I love this. It kills 99% of bacteria and viruses on hard, non-porous surfaces. So that probably sounds like a household cleaner that you already have. Newsflash, most of our cleaners are causing serious illnesses, including cancer. And I really think people need to start talking about it a little more. Not to mention, they are expensive. I did not know this. I went to the store the other day and I couldn't believe how much the big brand disinfectants were charging for their hazardous cleaners. It was outrageous. So I think these are awesome. They are concentrates, so you just need a little capful with your warm water and you can clean your whole house knowing that they're non-toxic and they're not gonna cause those illnesses. I think the EcoSense line is awesome. I also get that from the wellness box, and this is the Lemon Blossom Stain Remover Concentrate. So you can use this on just about any stain. I feel like we all know this, but lemon oil is awesome if you wanna get out Sharpie. And any marks on the wall, I have 3 children and they all like to be little artists. They like to take after their mom and dad and just create whatever they want on the wall. And then I wanted to show you the pre-spot treatment. My husband, we all know he's in law enforcement. I could care less if I get spots or stains on my clothing, but that's beside the point. My husband is type A and it works well with his job, you know, because I can spot treat his clothes now and I don't have to worry about any chemicals leaching into him through what he's wearing. Of course, the material that he is wearing, not a big fan of, but there's not much I can change about that. But what I can change is the toxins in my home. So I am loving the wellness box. If you want information on that, shoot me an email, or you could make it easier on yourself and fill out the form in the pinned comment or the description box. I will get back to you, or another person on my team will get back to you. It's just me and one other person. He is awesome. He is much more knowledgeable about the process of the store. Wellness Box is a Patriot-owned 40-year company. It is non-toxic. It's delivered right to your door, so you don't have to worry about supply chain issues or anything like that. You also don't have to worry about the big name that we don't really like that owns most of the world owning any part of this company. It is privately owned. It's never gone public, and that is the reason why we present it in this way. So once you get your information plugged in, you get a tour of the store, and then you can start ordering. You need 35 points a month to have an active membership and keep those low prices. So that equals out to about $70. And the best part about this company is that everything you're already buying can be switched out, hence switch away. So household cleaners, deodorant, toothpaste, cosmetics, different snacks, all of your supplements, most of your protein powders, items for your home, your family, your babies, just about everything you can think of, you can find it at the store. So again, if you're interested, the link is in the pinned comment or my description box. All right, now I'm down here in my little canning pantry because I wanted to show you what I stocked up on this week. They were 2 items that I really wanted to focus on. Of course, I got some water and I did get flour, but a company sent me these. I'm super excited. If you have chickens or ducks or an animal that needs these, we used to have a hedgehog that ate these, but you need worms. You need these to have healthy birds. So thank you, Grubterra. They're a company out of New Jersey, I believe, and they sent these over for me to try. Believe it or not, worms are super expensive. Wilder and I, my son, tried to start our own little worm farm and we're seriously slacking. We actually have a friend that does it, so she's gonna come out and teach us a little more. But in the meantime, we have some dried mealworms. So I'm adding that to their feed as well as some cinnamon. Some people suggest adding red chili flakes for them to lay. I just haven't found a difference in laying when I do that. So I'm adding cinnamon to that. So I went ahead and went to my bulk store up in Nederland, Colorado, and added that to the feed as well as the worms. So I'm super excited. I will link them below if you want to check them out. It's a reasonable price for some good quality worms if you're in the market for them. And then next on my list, I'm going to start some seeds. Our zone has changed. We are 6A now. Definitely go on to your Farmer's Almanac unless you have a physical copy of, which I suggest you do, and see if your zone changed. It probably did. I don't know if anybody knew that. So we were 5B, now we are 6A, and I'm going to go ahead and start some seeds now. It will be our last season gardening here in Colorado, and I just want to savor it. I'm excited to get home to Pennsylvania to garden and start our homestead / maybe farm if we find some land. So yes, in the meantime, we are starting seeds. I just got some from Baumgart's. It was on sale for $2 for the bag. So I grabbed the last remaining bag and I'm gonna start some herbs. I feel like I always start herbs pretty early, and I might start some tomatoes. If they get a little big, I will get them under the grow lights and we'll see what happens. I also wanted to try some container gardening indoors. So some root vegetables. Let me know if you have experience with that. I want to try potatoes. I want to try sweet potatoes, and I want to try carrots just because I have so many seeds. If you're interested in the seeds I get, I will link them down below. They're awesome, non-GMO heirloom seeds, and you can continue to save them. I have not saved my carrot seeds yet because it's pretty much a 3-year process. But again, let us know if you have any experience with seed saving. I'm excited that I found some dirt and some worms, and I stocked that up for the Prepper Pantry. Oftentimes, a lot of people think Prepper Pantry is just food and water, but it's so much more. It's preparing for any emergency, and growing food is a big one here in this house. Alrighty, my friends, I am going to wrap it up. Thank you for being here for this random video, and thank you for chit-chatting with me. I always appreciate our conversations, and I always appreciate if you introduce yourself if you're new. So I will catch you in the next one. As always, stay adventurous, stay creative. Bye, y'all.